If you're driving, please remember to use your car's Bluetooth speaker while listening to the AM Drive. Sports talk is not worth your safety or the safety of others.
Grab your popcorn and sit back.
Jump the gun. Oh, no, give me more than that. Okay, go this way. That was dumb. We are.
How could I tell you when nobody wants to? Ill-fated words I will choke.
Happy Monday to everyone in the sports universe. This is the AM Drive on September 25th, 2023 for Aaron Crouch, who is in Las Vegas, Nevada. I am Michael Carvelis in Savannah-ish, Georgia. Aaron, how was your sports weekend, sir?
Overall positive. The betting came through, although the AM Drive didn't. But that's okay. Majority of the AM Drive 5 never even gets bet by me. So I overall had a good weekend. Got to had some family issues to take care of early, but we got to enjoy some football and just kind of a lazy Sunday, if you will.
Amen to that. I do have to admit it was a fun football weekend. I tried to watch Formula One for the first time in forever, and that is the one sport I cannot understand. I understand tennis. I cannot get Formula One, their whole timing down. I'm sorry.
It's funny because I know you like NASCAR, so I don't know the first thing about really either of them. So
yeah, NASCAR is who finishes first, and Formula One's like all this weird timing. I'm like, what in the world are we doing here? It's weird.
Well, yes and no, because NASCAR, it's who finishes first wins the race, but like for points, it doesn't necessarily mean you need to win. Fair.
Head to MikeandAaronDrive.com for the best in our shop and sponsors and socials and YouTube. And of course, on our shop, you can find great hoodies like the ones we're wearing in different colors. Find these awesome mugs, phone cases. Aaron's got the tumbler. I still need one of those. Double dosing, baby. And of course, Aaron's got a black mug as well. That's amazing as well. Right. Our AM Drive 5 recap. I went 3-2 to hold us down once again. Of course, Aaron's AM Drive 5 is negative, but he had a positive weekend. So did he really have a positive weekend? Not for our fans. No, he did not. Shame on you, Aaron.
All I will say is this. I have made the disclaimer many times that I cannot beat the NFL straight up. Oh. So please take my AM Drive. You only had one NFL game. Please take my grain of five, my AM Drive 5 with a grain of salt. It's called the grain of 5.
That's fair. I feel like I should do the NFL and you should do the college football because that's where we're both good at. It's sad.
Yeah. I mean, I did only do 2-2 in college football, but I had a multitude of teasers this weekend. I actually went 4-1 on those teasers. So there will be a reason.
You had teasers?
I had teasers. One of them lost because of a reason that makes me mad. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, Lord. Well, in that case, let's get to our best and worst of the weekend. Aaron, I'm so excited. Now that you've lost money from him, possibly, what is your worst of the weekend?
That's actually not my worst of the weekend because my worst of the weekend has got to be Sean Payton. It's just absolutely – and you know what? You drop 70, you have a bad week. You're down 50. You're leaving your star quarterback in the game to just rot. But not only that, how much crap you talked this offseason. Nathaniel Hackett never got 70 dropped on him. So – I'm sorry. Maybe it's the Dion effect when you talk crap and you get stomped, like the rest of America just feels warm and cozy. But I'm sorry to an NFL team to give up 70 points and actually had a shot at the record before they took a knee. They could have put the record on your ass. That's my worst of the weekend. Sean Payton, just a culmination of everything preseason to now being 0-3. The close wins aren't good enough. You had 2 losses at home by 3 points where you blew a lead against Washington. You made Jimmy G look good, which for all intents and purposes, the rest of the season has shown that he's not good. So for you to make Jimmy G look good, this is just absolutely embarrassing. And I know I'll be the first to admit it takes time for coaches to get their thing going on. But in the NFL, they don't give you that time. Sorry, Sean. You were hired to immediately turn around this program. And whether fair or not, you dug yourself the hole by talking crap. So my worst of the weekend is Sean Payton, and I put on Twitter on my own personal page, he should be fired today.
It's funny because your poll that you put on AM Drive TV on our Twitter/X is that, like, should he be fired? And I put no, and only 52% of 25 votes say no. I'm like, there's actually a good consensus, maybe Broncos fans, that believe he should be fired already. Wow.
Well, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. When they fired Nathaniel Hackett, he at least won a game, right? Won two, I think. But, I mean, the offense still can't score points. I mean, they're still averaging a garbage. I mean, I know that they woke up, but when a defense has half a pulse, they got nothing for these guys. He's an offensive mind. He's got, Sutton, Judy, Russell Wilson. Like I said, I'm the first one to give coaches more benefit of the doubt because of it takes time to get something in. But this guy, no thank you, because of what you said. You put that target on your back. You threw Nathaniel Hackett under the bus. You threw the Jets under the bus, which I know they got problems of their own. But, I don't feel bad for Sean Payton. I felt like he rushed himself back into maybe the worst situation in one of the toughest divisions. And I don't feel for him. I don't.
Yeah, we were told he was the Jesus Christ of this team, and a lot of us pushed back on that. Now we know why so far. And if you're 0-3 through 3 games, you're not making the playoffs. 0-2, I could see in a 17-game season. 0-3, no.
Well, 0-3 in the 17-game season, I think they showed a stat. I think you're like 12%. Just in so far in the 17-game season, which is not. I think it's like one team. I really do.
Okay. I thought that was the 0-2 record.
0-2, you're like.
Oh, that was the one.
I think you're like 19%. It's not much.
Ooh. All right, my worst of the weekend is Notre Dame. And Aaron, before the show, was like, well, why Notre Dame? Because I'm tired of seeing this school on national television. They are literally part of Peacock as well. They're force-fed down our throats. And even with a competent quarterback in Sam Hartman, who looked all worldly for the first 2 games or 3 games of the season, suddenly Notre Dame cannot close out Ohio State, who I could argue still does not have a quarterback. That quarterback makes some throws late, but it's like, dude, you were supposed to win this game. I picked the Notre Dame upset, so maybe it's kind of my worst personally as well.
You were supposed to win this game, but I picked you.
Right. But it's frustrating because they were the better team. They were the better team. Ryan Day could not coach the big game. But remember, if you're playing Notre Dame and you're a big-time school, they're always your little brother since, like, I guess Joe Montana left. I don't know. Whatever it is that Notre Dame is not good against the big-time opponents. Every time I see them, they're supposed to hang close or even win a game, they don't do it. When am I going to see why they're national? They're like the Cowboys. At least Cowboys make the playoffs.
Notre Dame makes the playoffs.
Oh, give me a break. They're like the TCU, like, that pops in like just because. I know the TCU by Michigan. It's not unfair to TCU. The fact is Notre Dame should have won that game because they had the marbles in place. They had the Sam Hartman at quarterback. Once again, everyone's little brother, Notre Dame.
So the reason I say this, I'll always have a built-in excuse for Notre Dame, simply because they don't get to recruit and transfer and NIL like the rest of college football.
There's a lot of Catholics out there.
That's not related in the slightest. You don't even understand. Let me explain to you.
I know you said it before.
It's the reason Brian Kelly left as well. You don't get to be a dumb athlete and play football at Notre Dame. You have to come in with a GPA. You have to maintain a GPA. There are also other acceptance standards. It doesn't have to be Catholic, but like, you can't just be some moron blockhead and get to choose between Colorado, Alabama, and Notre Dame. Like, you don't get to go to Notre Dame. You don't get to go to
Colorado shot.
Yeah, I'm throwing Colorado shots because they're not my worst of the weekend, because I expected exactly what happened to them. So they don't even get the honor of being the worst of the weekend. Although pundits on Twitter have gone to bat for this team, which again, I'll come off Notre Dame here, but basically I don't excuse Notre Dame, but they do have a crutch, if you will. moving forward to the Colorado situation, I don't think you get to yeah, but this, yeah, but that, yeah, but this on social media when you know you were the first one. If they had beat Oregon, you'd have been the loudest, most obnoxious person on social media. So you don't get to have built-in excuse and then celebrate. Like, hey, you're going to bat for this team, RG3. You're going to bat for this team, other people. Like, if they lose, they lose. Don't start, Shadur Sanders doesn't have an offensive line. Well, he sure had one in the first 3 games that you had no problem with. Well, he doesn't have a defense. Well, they haven't had a defense all freaking season. Like, what does that make?
But Travis Hunter is not going to put up 42 points by himself, yeah.
Yeah, and I said that as soon as he got knocked out of that CSU game, I said they got a built-in excuse for losing to Oregon, even though they were going to get pounded with him anyways. But I don't love this whole, play the woe is me underdog mentality. And then when the underdog goes in and gets beat down after stepping on the O, which this should have been my worst of the weekend.
That was crazy.
Yeah, you go in and step on the O.
There was no bulletin board until that point.
Yeah, you go in and step on the O and scuff it, and then you try to claim the victim role? No, good on Oregon. Good on Coach Lanning. He's right. They play for clicks. We play for wins. I loved that one.
And this game isn't played in Hollywood. It's played on the grass.
Yeah, that's a good one, too. I liked the clicks one. They play for clicks. We play for wins.
Oh, gosh.
I enjoyed that
The whole clip
one.
was incredible.
And they're all trying to say these coaches are jealous of Dion. It's like, no, I mean.
Yeah, because 86 new players. Yeah, I'm jealous, too.
Yeah, and they're like, well, they can't hold a candle to Dion. Well, in the college football world, they can. No, they're not Hall of Fame two-sport athletes who were one of the most recognizable figures in the 90s. No, you're right. They don't hold a candle. But in the realm that they're currently in, they're all better than Dion. Nick Saban, Dan Lanning, Kirby Smart, Lincoln Riley next week.
Yes, next week. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, so I don't know. This selective outrage on Twitter. I mean, I shouldn't be shocked, but it is what it is.
Best of the weekend?
Oh yeah. So my best of the weekend is Florida Gator. I know I said it. Florida Gator wide receiver Riley Pearsall. I think his name was Riley.
I saw that.
That might be the most incredible catch I've ever seen. I think it beats OBJ. He's falling forward into traffic with a one-handed catch. Absolutely incredible. I saw that one live too because I was sweating one of my AM Drive 5 bets, the Colorado, the Florida first quarter, which came through pretty easily. That's. I know I might be debunked, but that's the best football catch I've ever seen.
It's funny because Michael Pittman Jr. had a similar one, but his was with 2 hands in the traffic, like falling down and like getting blasted by a safety. All I saw was the still image of the Pearsall because I Googled it. Like, what is he talking about? Like this Pearsall guy.
Yeah.
I should have watched the ending of that, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Michael Pittman. I haven't seen that one, but
it's two-handed instead of one.
One-handed catches will always beat two-handed catches, no matter what.
Right. My best is former. This is crazy. I don't know who pulled this up after the game, but whoever did, shout out. Former Broncos ball boy Mike McDaniel hangs 70 on the Broncos. I don't know if he wanted an interview with the Broncos, but apparently he was an assistant coach ended up working up to assistant coach and then did not get a head coach. Again, I don't know if that part's true, but the point is he was a ball boy with like hoop earrings. And
yeah,
he's coaching for 70 points. That's insane. That's awesome.
You got to wonder, okay, did he intend to run up the score? Because most coaches don't do it.
Vic Fangio, too.
Yeah, most
That's
coaches.
True.
Oh, Vic Fangio, I didn't even think about that. A coach scorned by his ex-team. But it was like it looked like they intended to run up the score. And then when it was like, oh, the record's in sight, they took a knee. And I'm like, interesting. Like, I feel like with a team with those kind of personalities, I mean, Tua has been firing back, not in a bad way. I'm happy for Tua. He's basically like, look, if this ain't offense, I don't know what is. He told somebody to shut up. I'm digging Tua's swag a little bit, as long as he's backing it up like he is. You have Tyreek Hill. I don't need to go any further with that personality, but I would think a team like that would want the record. So either Mike McDaniel went over and asked his players, and they were like, "No, we don't care," or he made an executive decision to just find that's where the modicum of respect for Sean Payton is, or because I think the record's 71 or 72.
72, yeah.
Yeah, they could have kicked a field goal and obviously broken that record. So that one was a bit surprising to me, but yeah, Mike McDaniel is definitely going to have a good week for sure. That's a good point.
I heard somehow it rubs it in, like if he just stops it at the, like knowing dang well they have the record. It's like he just stops doing it, like just to let off the guys. Oh, by the way, we're respecting you now. It's kind of like rubbing insult in the wounds.
But see, here's the question: like in 20 years, like will we remember this game? Like,
that's what I'm wondering, because so many quarterbacks are balling out.
But I'm just saying they don't have the record. So when the trivia question, who has the record? I don't even know. I think it's the Redskins, to be honest with you. Who has the record for most points? No, I think it was when they were the Redskins.
No, I'm saying that would make sense though. But it's interesting. It's the Redskins.
Yeah, that their name is going to live in the record book. But yeah, like in 20 years, I'll be like, man, do you remember when the Dolphins put up 70? I mean, yeah, I might remember it. I don't know. But if they put up 73,
because I'm a Tua fan.
Okay, but like this isn't gonna. If Tua ends up having a wildly successful career, this would be lower on the totem pole of accomplishments. I mean, do you remember when the Patriots beat the Titans 58-3 one time? Exactly, but because it's so far down on Tom Brady's accomplishments.
That's fair. Oregon beat Colorado, like you said. I love that Dan Lanning was talking. I love people were saying, well, I wonder what he said about other white coaches. Like, no, this is not about that. This is the fact that he felt disrespected because people thought it was disrespectful that Colorado was getting 21.5 points on the road. Dan Lanning says 21. That's cute. They were up 42-0.
Yeah. They doubled that. They doubled the gas. Yeah, what do you make of this game? I mean, for me, it's just like Colorado's a great story, but like you said, for 3 weeks, they beat a TCU team that was a shell of the runner-up. Yep. They beat them by 3. They gave up hundreds of points. Yep. They then beat Nebraska, which is looking worse week by week. I mean, no disrespect. I think Matt Rule's going to get that turned around. Nebraska is just one of those programs that's like, man, nobody wants to go to Nebraska. I'm sorry, Matt. Like, yes, you have your lore and your prestige, but just no kid wants to go to Nebraska. Sorry.
Go play for the Cornhusker mascot. Yeah, I
the Bug Eaters. The Bug Eaters. Remember the Bug Eaters. So, and then of course they had Colorado State, who they were 20-something point favorites against, and had to double overtime, triple overtime, whatever it was.
And then someone told the analysts on TV were saying, well, now they're underdogs again, and so that means something. No, it doesn't. No, it does not.
No, it definitely means something. It means your wins are crap. All 3 of your wins are crap. They don't mean anything. Like
Vegas knew that.
You take that number off of TCU in that opening game. If they're not number 17, if they're unranked, I mean, it doesn't mean anything. Like they shouldn't have been ranked to begin with because their entire offense was gone. Entire offense except for one player. So, and I think it was a guard. So I mean, it's just they got. What are we gonna make of this story if USC does the exact same thing?
There's gonna be a lot of arguments on Twitter again, but what I make of the story is talk is very cheap, especially in sports. You said about Sean Payton talking his trash. It's almost like talking about the proverbial unnecessary target on your back. That's a real thing. That's a real thing. Teams are like, okay, you want to talk? Like you're not going to respect your next opponent. And your next opponent shows you who's boss. And now, like you said earlier on Twitter, like, oh well, this happened. And they were 1-11 last year. No. Sure,
this team was not 1-11.
Like Colorado may have been 1-11. Coach Prime's team was not 1-11. Let's get that out of the way right now.
Yeah,
because like this is not Coach Prime Buffalo. This is not Colorado anymore.
Yeah, this is not the same team as last year. And to be honest with you, they're still probably a 5-win team, which isn't anything that the media should be making into a circus. Like, I love Deion Sanders. Don't get me wrong. Like, he's rubbing me the wrong way lately just because of I don't know. To me, it just seems like they're playing Madden football out there. And when they run into a team playing never into a team playing real football. They're just going to get dunked on every time.
And one last thing I'll say about it is it's fake humility on Deion Sanders. And I know people are like, well, he's such a nice guy. Like, that's fantastic. I'm sorry, but last time I checked, last week against Colorado State pregame, we're wanting to fight the other team. That was a real thing. And then this week you're stomping on logos. So how humble is Mr. Humble Deion Sanders? Because I'm tired of a coach you can put the humble thing and I don't want to talk about him and I'll take the hype. No, you're not. Because you're letting your team do these things. So I don't want to hear afterwards, oh, we can't talk. You've been talking, you haven't shut up. You let them play like this.
Yeah, your actions speak louder than your words. If your team's walking around stomping on logos, which, I mean, if you know anything about college football, you don't walk into another building. I know that, they NFL, and the last time I remember the logo mattering was the TO and the George Teague thing. The Chiefs. I don't remember that one.
Well, I mean, the Chiefs and Raiders, Raiders try to do the same thing, but Chiefs and Chiefs always running up on them.
Oh yeah, that's fair. But anyways, to me, this just isn't a good team. Like, okay, they're probably gonna lose to USC. Arizona State, I think, is a coin flip game in my opinion. I think Colorado could get that win. They'll beat Stanford, but then they have UCLA, who's not unfortunately ranked anymore, but is a good team. Oregon State, who just lost, they'll probably fall into the 20s. Then you have Washington State and Utah to finish out. I mean, that's 6 losses.
Utah's nasty.
That's 6 losses in my opinion right there. So, I mean, if he gets them bowl eligible, like everybody's going to be rah, this, look what they did. But you're right. It's not the same team. This is not the Colorado Buffaloes that finished 1-11. Those guys all got kicked out. Remember, pack your luggage because I'm bringing mine. And it's Gucci or Louis or whatever it is.
Oh, of course.
So, well, your Louis Vuitton, I think it got ripped a little bit there, Coach. And
or came from Wish.
Timu.
Right. Florida State beat Clemson in overtime. Aaron, I know this was a big win for you. And Jordan Travis said that Clemson was being disrespectful. I didn't catch what they were doing, but apparently it was a big win for Florida State's psyche as well as the game itself.
So I didn't catch what his comments were or what Clemson was allegedly doing. Clemson was the better team in this game from start to finish. Florida State never led until the end. They also should have won the game, but their kicker missed a 30-yard field goal.
That was rough.
The kicker
29.
29-yard
field goal.
29-yard field goal. 29-30, potato, tomato.
Right.
But the point being is that Florida State, they just can't run the ball. They're just having problems running the ball. Mike Norvell's offense looked way too simplified. A lot of jump balls, a lot of rollouts with Travis. I don't think they're fully maximizing Jordan Travis, but I think he's also hurt. I think there's something wrong. I hope it's not long term. He looks like he's got a shoulder injury, but a win's a win. And to beat Clemson, which the Florida State hasn't done in almost 10 years, to do it in Death Valley, it's definitely a big win. It creates a great cushion in the ACC for sure, because I don't think there's any other team, in my opinion, that can hang with either of these two. For me, this obviously, I think Clemson's out in terms of a national title, obviously, with 2 losses, 2 ACC losses. It's a huge win for Florida State for a lot of reasons, but I wouldn't be proud to walk away with that win based on the play. I'm proud to walk away with it because it's been a long time, but Florida State can't rest and think this is a recipe to win the ACC and to also maybe play in the playoff. They dropped. They beat a ranked team this week and dropped. Think about that.
I picked Clemson, Ole Miss, Notre Dame, one other upset as well, UCLA. I picked Oregon. Out of all 5 of those games, I got one of them right. Like, thank you, Coach Prime.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I picked a lot of upsets. Yeah.
Well, Oregon wasn't an upset.
No, I'm talking about I picked everything else that I picked was like a plus 120 or plus 130 money line. And yeah, no. That was brutal.
Yeah.
Ohio State beat Notre Dame 17-14. This was a great game, but it's really showing me Ohio State has no offense right now. But God, their defense can hang.
Yeah, I think both of these teams are definitely great opponents. I don't know what happens with Notre Dame. I mean, they fell 2 spots. I don't know. It's early in the season, so I don't take that with a grain of salt. But they come back and beat Duke on the road next week. I think they're right back in the top 10. The big game, obviously, for them is against Caleb Williams. It's at home. So I'm not sweating Notre Dame at this point because, like you said, they do give a little bit of an edge to Notre Dame in terms of, a national conversation. So with Duke, USC, Clemson, and maybe Louisville, if Louisville keeps winning like they are in a couple of weeks, they'll be ranked, and maybe Notre Dame can sneak out a win. Like if Notre Dame wins out, I still think you have to talk about them in the playoff conversation, especially if Ohio State beats Michigan this year and Ohio State's in the playoff. You can't throw out a 1 3-point loss if Notre Dame is a 1-loss team. You can't. So I think this boosts Ohio State more than it hurts Notre Dame.
Doesn't Ohio State have to beat Penn State as well, or do they don't play them this year?
Because
they just beat Iowa 24-0.
They definitely play them. They're in the same. I think they're in the same divisions. So
I wonder who wins that. Where that game is actually.
It is in Columbus.
Oh, great. Okay.
So yeah, they got Maryland and Purdue, which should be wins, and then October 21st they got Penn State. They'll beat Maryland, but yeah, Maryland's actually got a lot of offense. Rutgers might give them a game on the road, but then Michigan State, Minnesota, no, and then of course they're in the big house this year.
That's rough. All right, when we come back, hopefully Aaron will be here. When we come back, we'll talking all things NFL. I'll hold it down for you if not. It's the NFL talk on AM Drive. Don't go anywhere.
All right, welcome back here to the Monday edition, Overreaction Monday, if you will, of the AM Drive. We are presented by Agridime. Our friends over there would love to deliver the highest quality, best tasting meats directly to your door, but you can't do it unless you go to mikeandaarondrive.com, click the logo that looks like the leaf slicer over the cow. AM Drive is the code when you shop for 10% off your entire order. Tell them the boys at AM Drive sent you and get the freshest, most delicious meat right to your door.
Don't name the cow if you invest.
Never name the cow.
Dolphins beat the Broncos 70-20. We touched on it earlier. Aaron, any word? How good is this Dolphins team? Because, I mean, obviously we've talked about the Broncos. We beat their horse a little bit here. Get it? But the Dolphins really...
We beat a dead horse.
But the Dolphins, people are like, oh, the Bills are playing well right now. I remember last year, Dolphins almost beat the Bills in the playoffs with like a third-string quarterback. Last year, Dolphins, when Tua was healthy in that snowy game, was very close to beating the Bills in Buffalo. And people were saying, oh, well, Dolphins offense will travel to Buffalo, and they almost came away with a win in that game. Are you a fan? Do you think do you think the Dolphins are going to run the AFC East, or do you think it's still the Bills to lose? Because this is tough.
So it's funny. When we talked in our division previews or our conference previews, I said that the Bills were still supreme in the sense of that they would win the AFC East. But when we filled out I filled out that bracket, if you will, of predicting the season, I actually had the Dolphins in the Super Bowl.
I had the Dolphins very close. Yeah,
I had them at like a 13-4 record. I think it was. But if the Dolphins can find a way to win this division and not have to go to Buffalo, because that cold in January does slow down an offense like this. I mean, no matter how you slice it and dice it, that kind of weather does something to warm teams for sure. But if they can find a way to have the majority of these playoff games in Miami, They're the best team in the AFC right now. I'll say it. They're the best team. And I'm going to say this. I know you're going to freak out, but as long as if Tua can stay healthy, I don't see a reason that anybody can beat them in Miami come playoff time. And that includes the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm actually almost of the same mindset, unless of course Anthony Richardson comes back and goes, well, the world, whatever. I'm telling you, man, it almost feels like, because as good as the Ravens to me have looked, as good as the Bills have kind of looked against subpar opponents, Chiefs have looked okay at times. Like, of course, beating the Bears down with Alan Williams stuff is not anything special in my opinion. You know, because I figured they were going to do that. You have to wonder, like, if the Chiefs are right there at the end and Joe Burrow's got his calf thing that could turn to an Achilles, for crying out loud, like, are the Dolphins the next team up? Like, no one even thought about that preseason because Tua's health. Like, okay, and that's it? That's the only concern?
I think a lot of people expect Tua to miss 3-4 games. And the thing is with Tua, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, they were undefeated with Tua when he started last year. Or at least they only lost one game. I think the game they lost was against the Bengals when he actually went out, I think, with the concussion. They were losing at the time, but
yeah, it was a Thursday night game, I think.
It was either 0 or 1 losses, I think, when Tua was in there. And I don't think a lot of people really give credit to that. Like, yeah, they were 9-8 last year, but a lot of that was Teddy and Skylar Thompson.
Skylar Thompson was really not good. Yeah.
He was almost good enough to beat the Bills.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like, of course, everything's a big if. I mean, yeah, the Bengals would be better if Joe Burrow wasn't hurt. You know, the Ravens would be better if Lamar Jackson didn't play down to inferior competition. I mean,
thank you.
I'm sorry, it's absolutely true. I mean, look at their 3 games this year. I mean, yeah, they covered against Houston, but that wasn't a good game. And then, no disrespect, but Lamar, a $250 million quarterback, should be able to beat Gardner Minshew.
I agree with that.
100%. I don't call the injuries. Odell Beckham out, doesn't matter. Yeah, you're missing Ronnie Stanley. I know Ronnie Stanley is a big left tackle, but you overcome that, especially when they're giving you a gift of not having Anthony Richardson. They're giving you Gardner Minshew. This guy's going to sit in the pocket all day and carve you, and then he carves them up. But going back to the Dolphins, I mean, like I said, it's week 3. This obviously looks great on paper, but I mean, I'll say I think they're the best team in the AFC as long as they don't have to go on the road and play in the playoffs.
I like that point. That's a good one. Like, if they're in Kansas City or they're in Miami, I think the home team could win. That's a fair assessment, especially in week 4 going into, of course, week 3 isn't done yet, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, we're going to have a lot more football, obviously, left to play, but if you're having to make, you're having to look ahead based on these things. It's, yeah, I mean, they look absolutely incredible. I mean, even against the Patriots, they were just at arm's length. They never really sweat the game. I know that the Patriots had a chance to come down and tie, but they were in control of that game, on the road, in a hostile environment. But, yeah, I mean, they look absolutely incredible. Again, as long as Tua stays healthy and plays that kind of football. I mean, like I said, I love the way his swag and what he's doing, and I love a little bit of the back talk. I can dig it. I mean, like, I have absolutely no problem with it, so long as you're backing it up, and they're backing it up right now, 100%.
Swimming. Cardinals and the Cowboys. Well, Cardinals beat the Cowboys 28-16. Dak threw a bad interception. Hello, Cowboys quarterback.
Lore.
History.
Yeah.
Right, lore, that works too. Were you impressed more with the Cardinals or disappointed in the Cowboys? I was impressed with the Cardinals. I keep saying it. They had the Giants down 21 points, and Cowboys beat the Giants 40-0. So that was a common opponent that was very similar, in my opinion. Cardinals, I think, have done, with Josh Dobbs at quarterback, have done.
This doesn't make sense, dude.
I mean, they're 1-2, but they could be 3-0 if you look at those games. Like, they're not bad right now.
They could be 3-0 for a multitude of reasons. You're right. I mean, they had Washington on the ropes. They had a chance to win. They had the ball with a chance to win.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. With the Giants, same deal. I mean, they got out to a very comfortable lead, or what we thought was comfortable. This is tough because, like, despite the Cowboys 2-0 start, I wasn't in love with him, and I told him, I said, when the offense has to be a factor, I'm not sure quite yet what we're looking at. And I didn't think that would come against the Cardinals. Let's be honest. I mean, I don't care who you are. I want to see one person that has a Cardinal money line ticket that it isn't just a lotto. They actually believe like the Cardinals are going to win this game on Sunday. Like no one had that. No one had that. Survivor pools were destroyed this weekend by the Ravens and the Cowboys. The Cowboys had to rely on offense, and it didn't come through against. I mean, what would you call them? They're not the worst team in football, even though I still thought they were tanking at the point. I mean,
the Bears
tanking
are.
team. It's got to be the Bears. I think it's hard to say the Jets are because other than you take Zach Wilson off that team and put Gardner Minshew on it, like why are the Jets not picking up the phone right now and trying to get Cousins or Minshew? Like I don't think
their
the Colts
offensive line is so bad, and Cousins' offensive line is the same way.
But I think they can find a way for Kirk Cousins can hit his receivers.
I wouldn't mind seeing them trade for Gardner Minshew. That way, Sam Ellinger could be our backup.
The fact you want to get rid of Gardner Minshew is embarrassing as a Colts fan. You should be wanting him to start every week.
Nah. Offense was too good the first 2 weeks.
I still think the Cardinals are on some level tanking at this point, but don't tell it to the players. I tell you that. If
Kyler comes back and this team's around playoff hunt in the NFC, which is wide open, as we know, that could be very interesting to see if they're actually tanking or not. And the pride that Rich Gannon has.
But if the Cardinals, I don't know when Murray's selected to be coming back. I know he's on the first four. He's out for the first 4 or first 6 or something like that for sure.
First 4 at least, yeah.
Let's say they win. Let's say they're 2-2 and he's eligible to come back and they continue with Dobbs. Like, I don't know if that's necessarily a signal that they're tanking. I think it's necessarily a signal that like Jonathan Gannon likes the way that Josh Dobbs runs this offense.
Yeah, and I was calling for Clayton Tune, but if Dobbs is going to put him in, they've been in position to win every single game.
This makes no sense.
But Gannon's doing a good job. They have him right there to win every single game.
It makes no sense to me. I mean, he's fighting. I mean, this concept makes no sense to me. I mean, they can run the football. That's another thing too. Is James Conner is having a great year.
He's still good, even after
Very
cancer.
underrated.
It's insane.
Did you know he had cancer? I didn't know he had cancer.
I heard that last week. I was like, "You're kidding."
What?
Brian
I
Robinson got shot in his leg and is coming back.
Yeah, I don't. I can't explain it. I still think this is probably a 3-win team, but it's a much more dangerous 3-win team than I ever gave them credit for.
That's fair. We'll be right back. Monday Night Football preview, and then we gotta go. But don't go anywhere yet.
All right, we are back. Last segment of the Monday show here, Overreaction Monday. Maybe we overreact a little bit in the second segment. I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting topic. We'll talk more, obviously, on Wednesday when we have more time. But I want to thank the friends over at Shank It Golf. Will you guys support them over there? Mike and Aaron Drive. Click the logo that looks just like that one. If you want their merchandise, make sure that you use our promo code AMDrive for 15% off of your entire order. Tell them the boys at AM Drive sent you. We appreciate you guys. Thank you. We are #Shankful.
Yes. Monday Night Football game number 1. And by the way, I just got back from a round of golf while we were on the break.
I saw that. Yeah.
It's not very good.
Did you play with Vice golf balls or what?
That's good. That's a good one because I have my Shank It Golf undershirt, which you can clearly know I'm wearing. It's not true. Not true at all.
We still have Vice on the Mike and Aaron Drive, guys. If you're looking for golf balls, little plug there. Vice Golf. Go to mikeandaarondrive.com. Click the Vice Golf logo. That's all there. You want to talk about swag? If you show up to the course with some Shank It apparel, some Vice Golf balls, and a Vice Golf bag, you're going to be the coolest guy on the course, even if you shoot triple digits.
The fact that I saw a Vice Golf cap somewhere in Savannah, Georgia, was pretty awesome. I'm not going to lie.
Well, hopefully they bought it from Mike and Aaron Drive.
Probably not. Monday Night Football game number 1. Buccaneers hosting the Eagles. Eagles are favored by 5 points. That's a very tricky line there. The total is set at 45. Baker has looked pretty good. As Aaron said, he might have a career year just because he wants the Buccaneers to tank. And the Philadelphia Eagles being favored by only 5, is it disrespectful or is it more respectful to the Buccaneers defense? Thoughts? And who? I think Buccaneers cover, but I think they lose by 3.
Yeah, I have Buccaneers covered in this one. You know my thoughts on a home dog getting more than 3 in prime time. I've always been a big proponent of jumping on the dog in that spot. However, I do have an action in this one, and yes, it is a teaser. Don't roll your eyes. But I did take the Buccaneers to 11 points and the under to 51. I think the only way that the Buccaneers aren't getting a shootout with this team, with the Eagles. So Tampa plays solid defense. I think this game probably finishes in the neighborhood of like last night's game, like 23-19 kind of thing. So give me the Bucs with double-digit points, and I'll take the under on 51 in this game.
If Baker wins this game, oh my God.
Dude, if we win this game, I can't believe I said we. I'm not a we guy. But if the Buccaneers win this game, 3-0, first place in the division, which is, I mean, I'm terrified of the fact that we're going to end up like, I said we again, that they're going to end up like, 10-7, wild card exit, and they're going to have the 19th, 20th pick in the draft. I hate that this is going to happen to them too.
You know what's crazy is that I heard first place in the division and had to put the Colts hat on again.
Are they in first place? I guess they are.
Yes, by a game. Everyone else is 1-2 or worse.
God, the Jaguars. That was embarrassing.
Yeah. Rams, Bengals. Chances are Joe Burrow doesn't play, so I would jump on the Rams like immediately. Because if you think Jake Browning's winning this game, I have a bridge to sell you, and it's between my room and like my hallway, so there's no bridge there. Is the point?
Who's the backup?
I think it's been Jake Browning.
I don't even know who that is. Oh, from Washington?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Wow.
It's rough stuff. No. I think Rams kill him. I'm sorry. I'm telling you, if they're smart, Joe Burrow might tear his Achilles if he plays. So I'm serious. That cap thing ain't no joke. Ask
Bengals go down 0-3. You think Mixon's gone?
Yeah, he's not in jail first, but yeah.
They got to trade Joe Mixon at that point. I mean, 0-3, like we said, I think it was 12. I actually looked it up. It was 8%. One team in the 17-game era, which is only 3 years now, which is actually technically 2 years. This is the 3rd year. One team in the 17-game era started 0-3 and made the playoffs.
Sheesh.
So, all right, that's going to do it for us. Enjoy Monday Night Football. You get a double dose of it, although I will say 2 games in the Eastern time zone is just silly to me, but whatever. But you guys enjoy it. Enjoy your bets. Enjoy your work week, unfortunately. But we'll be back on Wednesday. We'll be talking college football. We'll be talking the NFL, of course, and anything else going on in the sports world that hits the radar. But until then, Aaron Crouch for Michael Carvelis. Please enjoy. And, of course, as always,
drive safe.